there is a lot of unnecessary water usage in the irrigation space. So I kind of made
Mm.
that my mission to create a product that allows me to lower the water usage significantly in this space. So what DRIZZLE is, it's a smart irrigation system, and it basically works with this sensor. It's an underground.
Hello and welcome to my channel. The world is yours for the taking. Let's talk about dreams, challenges, and triumphs of the next generation on Say Something with Mads, where young people take the lead. Today, it's my privilege and honor to have a young change maker who is making waves and about whom we will discover as we progress to the interview. But let's welcome Khushi Shah. Hi, Khushi. How are you doing? And welcome to my channel.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good too. I'm excited to know more about you, though from your LinkedIn profile, I know a little bit about you, but for my audience, I would like to ask to introduce Khushi to them. Who is Khushi? What is she doing right now? And take us back a little bit about your childhood. Where was it spent? What did you do? What was your passion? And then we'll take it forward.
So, hi, I'm Khushi. I'm 18 years old and I am currently in the United States. I'm an innovator, entrepreneur, global youth mentor, and I very recently just became a podcast host. So, I'm very excited about that. One of the first things that I love to tell people about myself is that my life has been a journey. And when I say this, I mean it quite literally. So I was born here in the United States. And at the age of 3, my family actually moved to Italy for a few years. First started attending school in Italy, learned Italian. That was an amazing experience. Then we moved to a different state in the US. And
Okay.
then we moved to England for a few years. So went to a British school. That was, again, an amazing experience to have. And then finally we moved back to the United States, sorry. And through this experience, I attended around 12 schools by the time I graduated high school. So um, that was the most amazing experience I could have ever had. There were a lot of ups and downs, gained a lot of very important life experiences. And I think these experiences exposed me to a world of opportunities from a very young age. So, because of this, I developed a love of learning. And I became this very big, ambitious dreamer with whatever I wanted to do in my life. And yeah, so I think
Wow.
that played a really big role in shaping who I am today. And that's just a really cool fact that I love to share.
Oh, wow. Good. It is not mentioned anywhere. And this is something which is really, I want to ask a question on this. 12 schools in 18 years of age. Oh my God. What kind of experiences you must be having? Like it is, it is unheard of at this such a young age. A lot of adaptability, lot of thought process change. And tell me, there are some things which you found very challenging and something which you think was very beautiful part of this journey of changing schools so frequently, not making friends maybe. What is it? Did it make you very strong? And what was the biggest challenge you faced?
I think the biggest challenge was just growing up and being in and out of so many cultures. It was very hard to almost feel at home at first when, I started switching schools so frequently. And as a child, was quite introverted, so I didn't find it that easy to make friends. But I think
Mm.
moving from school to school, that really changed that. And now I'm a super outgoing person, and I find it very easy to fit into almost any social situation, which I'm very thankful for this opportunity that helped me develop that skill. And I think the most beautiful thing actually came out of that, and it's now that I have this huge group of friends all over the world. So,
Oh,
wherever
yes.
I am in the world, I always have someone that I can talk to, someone that I can call, just catch up with, and learn about all the amazing things that they're doing wherever they may be.
Oh, that's amazing takeaway from being to be so many schools, so many cultures, so many people. Beautifully said. So let's start from the beginning. why you are here today. You are here for a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons why we connected is because of your product, which is your entrepreneurship journey. You are a founder and CEO of Drizzle, DRIZZLE, right? It's called.
Yes.
So I think we should start from the beginning. How did it start, and how did you even think of doing this? And what is this all about? You can show the gadget if you have it, and talk about what are the benefits, what are you doing with it, and how did it all start?
So, Drizzle has been quite the journey for me. It actually originated as my science fair project when I was in eighth grade. So I was about 13 or
Yeah.
14 years old, and I had recently gone on a family trip to India, during which, for the first time in my life, I had witnessed communities that did not have easy access to clean water. And moving around so much, I still had never seen that. So as a child, this was a very eye-opening experience for me. And
Mm,
that helped me decide that lowering water usage somewhere was something that I wanted to incorporate into my science fair project as I was looking for ideas. So
mm,
I returned to the States. I was always thinking about it, but I never really found what I was looking for. And then there was a moment where I noticed that someone had their sprinkler system on in the rain, as I looked out the window. And that was kind of my aha moment as I realized there's so much water being wasted right now. Imagine how many other places this is happening in right now, how many times this happens in a week. And I decided to do some research, and I found out that there is a lot of unnecessary water usage in the irrigation space. So I kind of made
mm,
that my mission to create a product that allows me to lower the water usage significantly in this space. So what Drizzle is, it's a smart irrigation system, and it basically works with this sensor. It's an underground humidity sensor that connects to an app that I developed myself. And with the usage of a lot of databases, and the sensor and the app all communicating, it only irrigates your lawn when it needs to be irrigated, rather than having the time-based systems that is very widespread today. So um,
mm,
this journey of turning Drizzle into a product from a science project, I think,
mm.
was the most beautiful part of this whole process for me. And I'm very happy to see the impact, the statistics that Drizzle can achieve. And I am really excited to see a lot of customers using this in the market soon.
Yeah, the two things which I want to probe here a little bit is it's a school science project. Like, tell me how when you brought it back, this idea you discussed with your teachers. What was Who was the first one? Did you talk to your parents first, or did you talk to your friends or teachers? How did this whole idea of doing making an app? Also, you are interested in making a change from right from the beginning. You thought that that's something, yeah, I should reduce water. But how did that thrashing of ideas happen? Did you have any other idea before and you came to this idea finally, or you always, yeah, it was like you researched something and you thought that, yeah, this is doable? How did this whole brainstorming happen with your teachers and peer?
So within this whole process, there's been so much prototyping, so much brainstorming. It's crazy. But when I first came up with this idea, I remember I consulted. I had three science teachers in middle school that year, that I was very, very close with. Always went to discuss my ideas with, and I went to these teachers and I said, "Hey, I have this idea," and they thought it was a super cool idea, and they were ready to
Okay.
support in whatever ways I needed. And then I also went to my STEM teacher that year and I told her I want to learn how to program. I'd never programmed before, but I
Yeah.
was like, I have this idea and I want to make it happen. So, she gave me a Raspberry Pi, she gave me some resources, and she was like, come to me if you have any questions, but this is how you can learn how to code. So these teachers provided me with such amazing resources that I got to start with. And then I also took my idea to my parents, with them being the target market, homeowners themselves. I said,
Mm,
how can I make this a product, or, something that might be actually beneficial to people in the future.
mm.
So, they taught me the concept of like smart home technologies. And obviously, look, doing this as a 13 or 14-year-old child, it was way beyond what I'd ever imagined I'd be doing. So,
Right.
just emotionally supporting me and encouraging me to go for this big idea that I have, even though no one ever thought it could have been done by like a 13-year-old.
Mm. So how that is something very, very important when you said that you never knew coding and you had to learn this for that. So you were so focused on that that I need to get this done. For that, I need to learn coding, and whatever needs to be done needs to be done. But this is what I want to work on, right? So you were very focused on that. I want to save water. I want to do this. Now tell me, you are 18 now, and when you look back, last 4 years, the work which you have done, the setbacks or the happy times when a student starts working. So, what is the biggest one challenge which you had to overcome? Was it balancing your studies along with your passion, or it is about financially doing it, probably like a business? What was it that the biggest challenge you look back 4 years?
I think this whole journey has had a lot of ups and downs, and I think
Like,
the downs are, what teaches me how it can improve, and all the successes that I've had have obviously just been amazing. And I think the biggest challenge that I faced was actually just, within myself, finding the confidence to go for it. And I think sometimes that's a lot easier said than done. Thinking
mm,
back to 13-year-old Khushi, I again have always been a big ambitious dreamer. So I always had these dreams of, oh, I want to be a CEO. I want to inspire other youth. I want to have a podcast. I want to be on talk shows. I want to, change the world with my product and help people. And I had all these dreams, but sometimes it's really hard to take that first step. And I think with the people in my life that supported me, helped me overcome some of those challenges, is
mm,
how I could do those things. And I'm really happy that I did take that step out of my comfort zone, because I learned in
mm,
entrepreneurship and innovation, nothing will ever be in your comfort zone. You always have to try new things and be okay
mm,
with failure. I think that's the one thing I also had to come to terms
mm,
with. Growing up, school came very easily to me. The idea of making mistakes just never really, I never really contemplated it, because everything just came so easily to me. So with this product here, I had to learn a lot of things and, say that I don't know how to do this, and that's okay, but I'm willing to learn. So I think confidence and just being okay with who I am and what I love is something
mm.
that I really learned to do.
True. So this is what I wanted to highlight to the people who are listening, mostly young audience, that uh, did she did have a lot of challenges which all of us have. So many students, when I was a teacher, used to come up with ideas and all, but they are not getting the support maybe from the at home. Okay, these are very time consuming. You have to focus on your grades. That's the biggest pushback for children. There's so much to study. Where is the time for this? So you did balance all this. So how did you manage your studies as well as your passion?
So it definitely was not easy. Again, I think balance is something else that's a lot easier said than done. And, obviously just being a student, academics is something that I was really focused on, with my social life, just making sure that I'm spending enough time with my family and friends, enjoying my teenage years. And then
Yes.
this whole journey and product that I have here, and how do I balance all of those things with my other passions, other extracurriculars that I'm in, taking out time to, for self-care, making sure that I'm doing okay. Um, it was
Mhm.
quite difficult to find that balance, and I think I'm still working on it, still finding that perfect balance. But I think I became a lot better at it when I realized that it's important to focus on the things that matter the most, and
Mm,
sometimes it's okay to say no to things and take a step away from things that I may not be as passionate about, because I want to make sure that I'm channeling all my energy in things that I really love and am passionate about. So I think over time, what I found is, especially with Drizzle and everything that I'm doing right now, this is something that I'm so passionate about. It never really feels like work for me. So
work. Yes.
it's a really nice, when I was in school, it was really nice to come home and have this to work on. And I think, at first people might have
Okay.
thought, oh, you have to go home and work again. But I'm like, no, it's not really work for me. It's just something that I really enjoy. And I
Mm,
think that's also what really inspired me to graduate high school 1 year early and do this in place of my senior year of high school before college, because, you know, I I wanted to make up for all that lost time where I may have not figured out that balance, and also just take this as time to kind of figure out again, what things matter the most to me and what do I want to continue in college as well.
Beautiful. Lovely. Right. Okay. So you see, had of course balancing is a big issue, but the idea, the one line which I take from you is, if you love something, you will make time for it, come
Yes.
what may, right? You have to do everything, but still you will make time, whether it's night, you have 1 hour to do, or whichever way you have to, you will take out time if you love something. Beautiful. My next question to you is something which related to you, because you are developed this app, and I see, being a teacher in India, I have taught for 25 years. I get that feeling that children are very interested in science when they are young, like grade 9 and 10, they will do. But when they have to take up anything STEM related later on in their life, they somehow, girls take a back step, and it has happened. There are a lot of dropouts in science. They will take science subject, maybe they will do botany, zoology, biology kind of thing, but hardcore STEM subjects, they will avoid that, or they are not encouraged to take it. However it is, I see very less people going to research in STEM as women. So what do you have to tell? What is the reason? Do you see this in US versus India? Have you seen, you go back to India, you must have seen young people, talk to them. What do you think about this, women, girls not taking up STEM?
And thank you so much for bringing this up. I actually just watched a TED Talk recently that reminds
I
me of
also
this.
watched that. I did
And
watch that.
it talked about how girls are growing up in a society where they're held to the standard of perfection instead of
Mm,
being encouraged to be bold, dream big, and make mistakes. And growing up as a female, and especially a female of color, I've definitely noticed a lack of representation of similar women and role models that I could look up to in these fields.
mm,
And at first, this was a little bit discouraging for me, but over time, my identity has almost become like my superpower in this field. And it inspires me that I might be able to touch someone with my identity and my story. So,
mm,
and I really think that STEM as a whole field itself requires trial and error, it requires testing the limits. And with this, we're bound to fail. And that's okay. I think coming to terms with failure is something that's very important. And when we're held to a standard of perfection, it might not be as easy to do so. So on my journey
mm,
with Drizzle, I quickly learned that I have to become comfortable with venturing far, far beyond my comfort zone. I have to
mm,
learn and pick myself up from my mistakes, and I have to be my biggest advocate. So, again, confidence was a total game changer for me. And I am absolutely loving all of the organizations out there recently that have been working to give girls a platform to access the resources they may need to learn whatever they would like, and also
mm,
develop this confidence in themselves. And I really hope to see more of this as time goes on. And even with my own workshops and platforms that I've been teaching, one of my key goals is to empower students and girls, regardless of their backgrounds or their identity, because everyone has such amazing ideas, and it's a really saddening thought that some of these world-changing ideas might be silenced just because someone doesn't
yeah.
have a platform or the encouragement to share their ideas with the world.
So beautiful. I wish I had a Khushi to look up to when I was young, because we all want to be in STEM, but they're kind of gender discrimination or bias, or whether it's in our own mind that we are not able to match up to the boys of the class. They are good because of maths, they are quick, and we start labeling ourselves, oh, I'm not that good, so I might be good in some other. You want to excel and you want to perfect, you want to ace everything. It's not going to happen. You have to fail and try. And I wish I had tried that and thought that, okay, I'm not as good as the boys of my class, but I will be there someday. I don't have to give up and be the best in the class. So that's how many people drop out, because girls are very competitive, as far as they want to be best, they want to give it, but the moment they don't reach it, they start doubting. And as you said, confidence is
And I think
something.
personally, there at the beginning of my journey, there were many moments where, I failed because it was my first time in this field. I didn't really have a lot of family and friends that have done anything similar to me, so it was discouraging for me. And I'm like, maybe I'm not cut out for this, maybe I'm dreaming
Mm,
too big. And I think, there were times where I took a step back and I was like, starting to let go of what I wanted to do. But then I realized it's no one knows what they're doing when they first start, and that's okay. You have to come to terms with sometimes I
beautiful.
don't know what I'm doing, but as long as you ask for help, you're learning from your mistakes and you're growing, that's okay. As long as you're doing the best you can do, and you're passionate about what you're doing, you will make it.
Great. Lovely. I think you are inspiring a lot of women and a lot of girls, especially they need to have this kind of look back that yeah, we can give it a try and don't let their ideas fizzle out because nobody's supporting you. You look up, you have people like Khushi who is working and connect maybe and ask for help. Kushi, I was reading that you teach coding to kids. So you yourself learn coding because of the app which you are developing, and now you are teaching the kids. Why did you, with all this, you are managing to even teach the kids? How does this teaching come up? Did somebody approach you that we want to learn from you, or is it through social media? How do you meet these kids? Why teaching?
Yeah, so actually, along with, talking a little bit about coding and technology, the main goal of my workshop, it's called Build a Business Workshop, is to
Oh,
teach students the process of innovation and entrepreneurship by sharing my journey personally and taking them through a collaborative simulation in a short amount of time of what it may look like to innovate a product or service and turn it into a real business. And I also like to engage the students in genuine Q&As, which I feel we could use a lot more of. And I decided that this is something that I want to focus on because as an Indian American female, like I said, there were not a lot of role models that I could look up to that shared a similar identity or were just, stereotypically not in the STEM field, and I could look up to them. So it was very hard to find these relatable role models, and I made it my mission to give students a platform where they can be themselves, experiment with their ideas, and just talk about them, regardless of where they come from and who they are. So
okay.
I decided to dedicate as much time as possible to this because I've taught nearly 3,000 students internationally, whether it be virtually or in person so far, just since July of 2022. And I can see the
Wow.
long-lasting impacts of this even beyond the workshop. I have students that reach out to me after the workshop and they say, I thank you so much for sharing your story. I would love to continue working with you. So even some students I still stay in touch with, and they took this idea that they came up with during the workshop and they turned it into something real in the world. And I think that's the most
That is
beautiful and rewarding feeling ever. So I really do want to continue with this platform and continue to reach as many students as possible all over the world, because I also think it's very beautiful that so many
yeah.
students from all over the world are seeing different problems and things in their societies that they want to solve. And it's very cool to see how they tackle and what they want to tackle as well.
If anybody from India, say any young student, they want to reach you and they want to be in touch with you for your workshop. So how often is it conducted and where do they connect with you?
So, mostly all of the workshops that I've done so far have been through schools or through like honor society organizations internationally. So, that way it's been very easy for me to reach a large audience of students, which I absolutely love. And, even if someone reaches out to me just on my LinkedIn or just via email, I love connecting with students. So, whether it's a large group or just one-on-one, I love talking to people and sharing my story.
Share their ideas, yeah. They need somebody to talk to about this. They have some germ of idea and they don't know whom to talk to. So yeah, okay, that's how you can help them. And you are reaching 3,000 students. So, wow. And still counting. Um, Something which is amazing, which I was going to ask you from the beginning, but yes, I would keep it, I would ask now since I know about your journey, is that the awards and the recognitions which you got after this drizzle. So the spotlight is on you. You have won a lot of awards. You have been on a lot of big platforms. So tell me about which is your so far, which one is the most closest to your heart, and which one give you the maximum reach to people, that people know who Khushi is about after getting this award? So there is some proclamation of Mayor of Illinois honoring you with a contribution to the community award and many more such. So which award is closest to you, your heart, and what has it changed for you?
Um, Definitely, I'm so grateful for every award and every recognition that I've received. Again, thinking back to 13-year-old Kushi, these were the things that I dreamed of, and now they're actually happening. So it's very
Absolutely.
surreal to just kind of take a step back sometimes and think about this whole journey. Like you said, I've been very fortunate to be on some big platforms and have a very large reach with my product and my mission and just who I am. And I think, however, even though, I've been on all these amazing platforms, the most special award and the closest to home for me was the proclamation that I received from my mayor, who proclaimed a day in my name last year, the day that I graduated. And my initial feeling was shock. That's something, having a
Wow.
day in my name
A
is
name
something that,
dedicated to you.
yes, that's something that was always on my bucket list, but I was like, this might happen later in life. Maybe it won't happen. So was definitely very shocked. But looking back on it, it's something that will stick with me forever. And it was a moment that I will always remember and be grateful for because this is the community that I've, always been in, and even if I've been out of this community, my family's always come back to the same town, no matter where we go in the world. So this community has supported me so much and they've given so much to me. So to have that feeling that, I gave something back to my community and it's just getting even better from here is so rewarding and it's so
So
special for
rewarding.
me.
Absolutely. This is unthinkable what you have achieved. So, which is that date, if you can share with us?
It's August 6th,
Okay, 6th August. And when, which year was this? Last year,
2022. Yes.
2020. So, you will celebrate a year of it in few months. Okay, great. This is something which is really, people don't dream so early in your career. So, Kushi, when you see yourself, where do you see? Do you think that you want to develop some more of these products as you go on 20 years down the line? Do you want to patent something? What is it you dream for next? It's a see yourself from now, 20 years from now. What do you
So I
see? Where do you see?
definitely see myself continuing in the field of tech entrepreneurship. Um, I love technology and entrepreneurship, so that's like the perfect combination for me. And I definitely want to continue with Drizzle. This year I was able to work on patenting my product and marketing and
Mm,
all these skills that I've just learned. I
wow.
find it all so fascinating how there's so many individual amazing parts that come together and create a product or a business. And I want to continue with that. So in college as well, I'm planning to study computer science, technology, and then also like the business and entrepreneurship world. So that way I can
Mm,
solidify my knowledge as well. So I'm looking forward to doing that, meeting more amazing entrepreneurs in college, change makers, and just learning from their stories, sharing mine, and seeing where life takes us from here.
great. This will of course keep in touch and will know where you are, what you're doing. But whatever you will be as amazing as your journey, and keep that focus which you have at this age is simply out of the world. That focus is something which is coming across, that I need to do this and I will not look here and there. I need to get somewhere. Now coming to a different genre of question. Who is your hero in life? Whom do you look up to, and why is that person a hero in life?
I would definitely say that both of my parents are my heroes in my life. Moving around so much, everything in my life was constantly changing, being thrown in and out of different schools, cultures, towns, countries as a whole. My
Hmm.
family was the one thing that stayed very constant for me. And I think that's the reason that I'm so close to my family and just the way that they inspire me with all the ambitious, amazing things that they're doing and always taking the time to support me and my sister through all of our amazing things that we're passionate about. I think it's amazing how they balance it all and just seeing them do it and still having the energy to have fun and just support us emotionally as well is so inspiring for me.
Great. So, do you go back to India often? Do you have family living over there? And which part of India you belong to?
Yeah, so both of my parents are from Gujarat. They actually came to the United States for college and decided to stay here. Yeah, we go back pretty often. Most of my family is still in Gujarat, so it's very nice to go back and still feel a
Okay.
very, very strong connection to my culture and my family.
Kushi, if you have to meet someone, a historical figure, you get to meet who is no more alive, who would that person be? And why would you want to? And what question would you ask him or her?
So actually, I think I've always answered this question with like, very big leaders and very big names that everyone's familiar with. But over time, I've realized that I get this like business bug almost from my family. So in Gujarat, my family has a family business, and my parents were the first ones to kind of venture away from our family business. So I would definitely love to, talk back with my ancestors, my family, and see how did business impact them? Were there, women in business at that time?
Mm.
How did they see things kind of, unfolding for our family with the business and just, how was life
Of
back then for
women.
our family?
Yeah. All right. Kushi, you have an option of taking three people out for dinner whom you don't know. Who will those three people be on your table and where would you take them?
I think just like in general, I've learned, especially over the past year, that there are so many amazing young change makers out there doing amazing things in the fields that they're passionate about. So I think meeting with a group of these young change makers that I may not already know from different places, learning about whether it be like, females or just females in technology, learning from their story, I think is something that I love doing. And I think that would be the ideal situation where I can learn about how do girls kind of step up in other countries, how do they find things they're passionate about, and what resources do they have, and what resources are they creating or are they looking for as well.
You are now a podcast host. So, what made you start this podcast host, and whom do you invite as your guest? And what is the conversation like? What do you ask them? What are the topics you discuss?
So I actually just started my podcast. It's called
Oh,
Rise and Shine with Khushi Shah, and it's on Spotify right now. I'm looking to expand to other platforms pretty soon as well. The whole reason that I wanted to start this podcast was to have a way for youth to kind of come out and share their opinions on slept on conversations, where we'll rise and shine and talk about them. And I think some of the topics like teen empowerment, mental health, gender stereotypes, female empowerment, are all things that have impacted my life. So I want to make sure that I'm talking about them in a way where people who might have struggled with the same things that I struggle with have somewhere to turn to and just hear about these topics. So I really invite any youth out there to come and tune into the podcast, and even adults. I think it's um, youth have a very different but very interesting perspective on things. And I think with us being the future of our world, it's very important that our ideas are being heard from now, and that we're acting on some of these amazing ideas that youth have. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where this podcast goes and all the cool people that I'll meet on the journey as well.
Kushi, I give you this opportunity now to ask me a question. Since you are also a podcast host, let me see what question you can ask me now.
Oh
Ask
goodness.
me anything.
Um, so just kind of seeing, all the youth that have come on your platform and talked about so many amazing things. My question to you is, um, what do you see in like the future of our world? What do you hope to see in just talking to all of these youth? How do you feel about what's to come in the next 20, 30 years?
I've been talking to youth a lot, almost one youth every day from across the globe, and I've been teaching for so many years. So I know the thought process, and I can see that the things are changing for better. So 10 years back, what I saw the youth, they were little rudderless, don't know where it is, where they are going. maybe I think that we, because we take the bad part of social media, but there is also a lot of good which is happening because of social media. But what I think, Kushi, uh, I personally feel a lot of them needs to work on is the, it's a big word now, living sustainably, as you are doing for um, water, shortage of water. So their activity need to be associated with helping the community to get to this UNSDG goals somehow, small or big, they have to do it. Youth need to remember the underlying goals, which is one target goal each one can take and work upon it. So I think that's all to you. All right. Kushi, what about some of the suggestions of books? If you have any books or any podcast, since you said that I didn't find any podcast, so I started my own podcast. So I will not ask you more about this. So, what about any favorite books which you have read, maybe from childhood or maybe you have read in past, which you can suggest to our audience?
So I've always been a very big reader growing up. I love to read anything and everything. So definitely a lot of books that I've gone through. But I think one of my top favorites, and a book that's just really stuck with me is Becoming by Michelle Obama. And I think that the way that she kind of told her life story and um,
Yes.
empowered other people just so beautifully through her own story is something that inspired me and a lot of my friends that read the book as well. I remember we all bought the book together, we all read it together, and that was a very,
Mhm.
very special time for me.
Thank you so much for suggesting this book. Kushi, how would you end this talk? Should you want to give a message or a quote, or what is your life philosophy right now? What would you like to say to the youth before we end this?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. I think it's so amazing what you're doing, giving youth a platform, and I am really excited to see all of the episodes to come with all the amazing youth out there. For the youth watching this, just go for it. You know, you can do what you want to do. Just put your mind to it. There will be ups and downs. That's okay. Come to terms with failure, come to terms with success, and anything is possible.
Yes, thank you so much, Kushi. And it really is amazing that we connected through LinkedIn. And as I said, this platform is so beautiful. We connect people from across the globe. And this has been an amazing conversation and lots of good wishes for Drizzle and your future career and your education ahead. And hope we keep connected even after this show. And I will be looking forward to your podcast, definitely. So, yes, thank you so much. So, as I say before I end every week, do subscribe to my channel and keep watching this space for young change makers every week. Every Saturday, we publish a new episode. And do take care of this planet and do a little bit of what you can do from your end to make this a better place to live. Thank you and bye bye.